All the good things we see around us today are products of that pioneer spirit. Little businesses that have grown into big ones because it's a place where one man, any man, can do things on his own.
Indiana.
Like, the true American story is still alive through you, and I can't wait to jump through the maze of how this came together with you. So for your big deal, Isetta, please tell me and everyone else how an Isetta drag car for Hot Wheels, how did the big deal happen?
So, one of my dreams in life is to have a Hot Wheels car. And when the Hot Wheels Legends Tour was first announced, I've been devising a plan since year one. And it all started with the banana hammock, Nash Metropolitan. And as I collected all of the funds and then spent all those funds on parts, a month after I was fully invested, a Nash Metropolitan won the Hot Wheels Legends Tour. I was fully committed, and as everyone can look back and see, we ended up following through, still built the banana hammock, made a movie, but it didn't take me where I was wanting to on stage at Hot Wheels. So this time, I thought, I don't want to build a car I think someone else will like. I'm really gonna dive into their three categories, which is creativity, authenticity, and garage spirit. And I'm gonna build my dream cars. I'm gonna build stuff for me, not for anyone else. I'm going to build my favorite car, which is an Isetta. And when I pitched that to Trent, he goes, where in the world are we getting an Isetta at? And I drew it, and as soon as I drew it, ding, it popped up on my phone. One's in Ohio, hour and a half away, and it was $1,500, man. Like, it was all the money I had to my name at the time. I think I had $1,600, which put fuel in the truck to go get it. And the next day, I have our Hot Wheels potential show car, maybe?
Tell me, how does a kid from Deputy, Indiana, when you're surrounded by Cummins, farms, tell me about how Hot Wheels was part of your childhood and this is really a lifelong dream. Explain that to me.
So my dad's a massive Hot Wheels collector all growing up. Like, he even has a room in his house dedicated to Hot Wheels. And that was just a big part of my life. I have, since a very small child, even bicycles or toys or anything, I've always loved to sit down, draw pictures, and want to make them. Whether it be a toy or like with my bicycles, I actually built show bikes when I was a kid. And even through high school, into high school, I kept all that. I wanted to build Hot Wheels cars. I wanted to, I've always been a dreamer. And even so much so that, my ninth grade guidance counselor, when I told her I wanted to design and build Hot Wheels, told me that I might need to look at growing up, And I listen, smile, thank you, and move on. And I'm here now chasing a Hot Wheels dream. And I feel like I'm proud that it is an Isetta. It's not a car that everyone likes. It isn't. Even all my friends think I'm crazy for liking these little cars. But I do like them, and I'm authentically going to show who I am in this whole process. And this little Isetta is the way for me to do that and show not just artistry like I did on the last one, the pickle jar, but now I get to show my craftsmanship and all of the skills that I have learned and developed really on my own through meeting great people in this automotive industry that I've committed my entire life to the last 10 years since I got out of Wyotech. So when I first started mocking up Big Deal, it was just to see if it was possible, like to see if my little drawing was actually something I could turn in and maybe see if we could get a sponsor or two to help us on this Hot Wheels chase. And along the way, Jerry Bellot ended up hitting Trent up with a parts car to help us out, which that helped me out because I didn't have enough to build one car. And now I do. I have enough to build one car. But my ADHD brain, I see something shiny and I move on. So I had a little speed bump there and got distracted because I thought, okay, I first didn't think I had enough to build one Isetta. Now I see enough to build two Isettas. And I can build two Isettas into a team transport set for Hot Wheels and take this thing to a whole new level that not only is Hot Wheels not expecting I can pull off, I ain't expecting I can pull it off either, you know? I drew this thing in 2021. Like, that's when I really plotted this out, was 2021. And then when I got it and mocked it all up, I mean, it pretty much set all 2022 and just stared at me in the face, you know? And I wanted it there as motivation, as like, I don't want to do anything else in this shop but work on Isettas. I really don't. The only way I'm really gonna be able to get to this Isetta is work hard enough to collect the resources I need to pull it off for Hot Wheels.
So if anybody didn't see the Pickle Jar documentary, sum up what you had to go through prior to even starting the Big Deal build.
So I left and went to Texas for 40 days and 40 nights, and I built a daily driver, shop truck, and transporter buddy to what Big Deal is. And that was a massive commitment that I'd already put my body through the ringer on. And coming home, the gap of time I had since the Pickle Jar to Big Deal, I didn't have time to really recover. I had to come up with enough to survive and recuperate from the massive investment that the Pickle Jar was just prior to this. You know, I mean, what a lot of people don't understand when watching all this stuff is I didn't turn the first wrench until February 28th of 2023. And I built the Pickle Jar truck, and then I had to build a whole nother car, being Big Deal. And in my head, I'd already spent $5,000 on Big Deal, you know, just to get it mocked up. And like Trent picked up an engine for me in California, and with the body, and then all the parts and pieces, the wheels, tires, everything like that to actually build this thing. And I was in my head thinking I need to come up with another $5,000 for steel, for sheet metal, for you know, body shop supplies. I mean, it's a lot to build a car. It's a lot of commitment. And when I got back from Texas, I was only recuperating. I couldn't come up with enough to make it. So here in my head, I go, I don't want just another like artistry car like the Pickle Jar was, and it was rattle canned and everything, which was fine for that. That's my daily driver. But with Big Deal, I want it to be a show car. And I am getting ready to start a project knowing that I have to commit fully to it to even pull it off. And I do not have the ability to make a show car with what I have. All I have is a scrap pile to build from. So right before we start, I do not have any stock at all to build from. I have to dig in the pile of my past mistakes. So the Big Deal project started just a second ago, and so did the rain, which is a little different than it was in Texas, but you know what? I will take a rainy day in Deputy over a sunny one in Texas to start a project any day. Day one of Big Deal has just started, and I have a month and a day until this thing's got to be done for its debut to the world. The hard times that are about to come the next month and a day will hopefully lead to an awful big rainbow, Phoenix, Arizona, September 23rd. Okay, and before we get going and talking about the build, I do want you to know too that going over this footage and kind of refreshing myself on this, I do want to warn you that there is a part of me that I do have to tap into to make crazy things like this happen. And it isn't always happy and positive. Sometimes I go to a pretty dark place to make this stuff happen and skip out on sleep for 2 and 3 days. And there is a lot of this that I had to go back and watch video to recall what even happened. I almost felt like I clocked out mentally, went into a trance, and built this thing on autopilot. So I don't suggest doing a lot of the things I do safety-wise, Some of it I go back and look at and I can't believe that I did it, you know, and made it through it all unscathed. But this is what I had to do to pull off what really had me and my family back against the wall. And a shop truck being rough around the edges is fine, but this is my chance to really show with my dream car here that I can build a show car in a month and a day. I mean, I'm gonna try to. So the goals today is to get the body moved over, the floor cut out, and it mocked up in place. So, I mean, by the end of the day today, I can kind of get seat position and know what I'm shooting for the next month. This is the part of the project getting ready to come up that the restorers, that the guys that have bone stock Isettas are gonna have an aneurysm. But it's my favorite part. This is what I was put on earth to do, you know? Anytime I get to the point where I think someone would yell at me for doing it, like, why are you tearing that up? That's the most fun you can have in life, dude. The hardest thing on any project is the first cut for most, but not for me, you know? I grabbed the grinder and I cut the floor out of that thing. I knew from staring at it for the last year and a half, 2 years, that the first thing I needed to do was set up body mounts on what was going to be chassis and seat location. This entire project was designed asymmetrically for Hot Wheels packaging. All from the start, everyone's going, oh, are you going to put 2 engines in it or anything? It's like, no, I have to keep it low budget, but I need to be creative enough to make this thing a Hot Wheels design and fit into my style here, you know, in Deputy. People know me for being an odd cat. And I want, at the end of the day, to have some odd cats that I show up with and make a splash. And you know, like, the design process of a project like this starts in like the Walmart aisle looking at the toys too, because the Matchbox cars in the package face the left way and the Hot Wheels cars face the right. So right off the bat, like, if I'm going to be designing things as a set, I need to think of the set in the complete package as a whole, not just what looks cool here in my garage 1:1 scale, but I got to think 1/64 scale on this project. It's wild when I started mocking this thing up because I didn't have like a definitive plan on how everything was going to work because I didn't have any stock to use. So I was digging in my scrap pile and making, as I like in the moment, I was just making every part I needed. Nice. You gotta check and see if it's race weight yet. Oh yeah. You can do a wheelie. I need to be 40 inches to work. This is just, I don't know, this happens to me. I don't know. And I mean, it's kind of a weird thing. It's a moment that's hard to kind of explain. I'm glad you're here to see it, but like I climb in there, I need 40 inches, you know? And I'm sitting here going, man, I don't know if it's, you know, long enough or not. I've been worrying about it. And it is, there's the edge. I need 40. Bro. It is 40 on the dot.
I built it for the 6 offender. It honestly didn't fit well in the 6 offender. It didn't. So I actually made it for Big DILL, I don't know, 5 years ago.
Luckily, I have friends locally that are coming over that, I mean, my buddy Levi, I call him Mikey's Merlin. He's an engineer by trade. So he comes over here and kind of gives me pointers and just friendly conversation to think out some ideas. And he asked me, hey, are you going to make this body flip so we can work on the chains and everything at the racetrack easier? And I told him, I was like, I don't really see a need to make this thing a funny car flip body because the front door, it kind of makes it harder to get in. And he said, no, flip it the other way. So I wasn't even flip from the nose. I was thinking flip the other way. So that sparked an idea that I was never going to do. And when Ruthie came out, she said, hey, will you make this thing a flip body? It was just like every person that kept coming around me was asking about this thing being a flip body. So I decided to just skip sleep that night and make it flip. And plus, Trent was coming back into town and going to see it the first time. And what I wanted him to do is sit in there and me get that body tilting up and surprise him, you know.
Feel the hair on my back coming up. Person speaking.
I'm an idiot, okay?
You know, and piecing this thing together like we did and really kind of engineering it as we went, Levi was going to be making the rear axle and the rear hub. So he was coming over to do all the math and help me on that, on, you know, the chain drive and the hub assembly. And as we mock it up, we realized that the counterbalance is going to be so far off that I have to make this rear axle just a little bit wider than what an Isetta is, which I didn't want to. Isettas are real narrow in the back, and I wanted to keep that in this little monster. So I didn't want to lose the back end of an Isetta. I didn't want to put a big spoiler in it. I didn't want to change it. I wanted you to look at it and noticeably see that it is a BMW Isetta. But I needed it to be 5 inches wider. So Levi, sweating, and he's like, dude, I'm sorry, you know, it's not going to happen. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry that I wasted your time. Come back tomorrow. You know, I'll have that thing pieced together. And I see everything as like pieces of paper. You know, that's the reason paper to pavement's a thing, because my pattern making skills are paper. So I just looked at the back of that car as pieces of paper. I cut it in little slits here and there. I widened it to where I needed it. I put the tires where I liked them and where it would look perfect in a Hot Wheels package. And then that is where it existed. And when Levi came back the next day to check it all out, I surprised him, and by the time I slowed down enough for me to soak it in, I kind of surprised myself too, because I cut the little tail light sections off separately, I welded them back in, and I mean, I set it up to where even guys that know Isettas would have trouble seeing that it's widened at all, and it is, you know. And I kept the look I was going for. I kept the wide front, narrow rear, but it still looks tubbed like a little Hot Wheels car. Okay, so the last little bit of the fabrication I need to do is like sheet metal stuff, and I don't have any sheet metal either. So when I go back and dig in the scrap pile, I find some old pop machine sides. And I'm not gonna break into how they got here on Mikey's Acre Earth, but just knowing that they were back there for a rainy day was perfect, and it was pouring that day. The engine cradle in that thing and the chassis are factory pieces. You know, this is a nostalgic drag car, so I want to keep that spirit. My buddy Wes Rowlett gave me a Harley Davidson engine cradle, you know, lower frame section, and I welded and grafted that into a factory Isetta clip. So this entire chassis, the base of it, is built off of what I'm using. It's Isetta and Harley Davidson that we're basing and starting with. The roll cage, every little part and piece that I used for it was scabbed off the 6-offender, the Bug, my old car. Everyone was asking why I cut that chassis up, and that's the only roll cage I had access to in time to make this Hot Wheels thing happen. So the reason I cut the 6-offender up was because I needed a parts car for my Isetta. The beautiful thing about this Isetta, and this is the reason I planned this out from the start, is this is a very, very simple project. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a little bitty shell that might as well be the size of a Cadillac hood. You know, as bodywork wise, it's fast. And then as far as the chassis goes, it's a Harley Davidson, which is chain drive, to a go-kart axle, really. Like, this is just a beefed up go-kart with an Isetta body on it, in my head. You know, that's the simplest way that I have convinced myself I can pull it off in 40 days, is how I kind of did that. The last things on the to-do list are the nasty stuff. I gotta finish the sheet metal and get ready to start doing body work.
That's awesome, man.
All right, that was an awesome day 11. I'll talk to you about it on day 12. I'm too tired. Okay, so before I got jumping in on day 12, I wanted to give you a rundown on what I've done to this point. The body is all tacked together, fabricated, and done. I've got all the inner structure. It's solid. Now all I got to do is like the rust repair, the finish welding. We're ready for some body work on this bad boy. I went ahead and pulled it off so I could jump on that because I'm waiting on Jeremy Lawford to cut the plates that me and Levi drew out the other night for our chain drive assembly. Once that's all done, the fabrication's done on this, and it's ready to blow apart for paint. So guys, 12 days in, and Mikey's fabrication's done. So the only piece of sheet metal I got left is the floor out of that Crosley that I got from Clay. I know it looks rusty, but you know, by the time I get some Rust-Oleum on it, it'll look brand new.
Right in the middle of doing body work, I cause another problem with the pickle jar, and I get in a little head-on collision in that thing and make even more body work for me to do. But that's just part of it. When you're in a bad body work mood, that's the best time to need to do more body work, I guess.
A man and his many mistakes is what we ought to call this show. A man and his many mistakes. It didn't go nowhere. Stopped my truck though. Better than brakes, man. And look at that. I better get that piece of glass out there.
Well, kind of worked out that we're filming it. Gotta be honest.
There it is.
People love the truth.
Gosh, man. The truth is, I don't know how to drive. Wonder if they do that at Gold's Gym. Got lucky on this project, man. We're getting some attention. Prism Supply. Prism Supply hooked us up. Oh, dude, what'd they send us? Ooh! Sent us a jockey ship to build from. Look at that, man. Gotta open it. TIG welded. Man, I tell you, they sent this nice little jockey shift to build from, and it does away with all this linkage and foot pedal operation. So now we'll be able to have it up here. They even sent a nice knob too. I don't believe I'm gonna be able to reach through here and get to it, but they sent it to me in mild steel. That way I can add a Heims joint to it. Man, that thing is nice. It moves it right over where I need to pull for my shifter too, so hey, Prism Supply, thanks a ton. High quality motorcycle parts. Head over there, tell them Mikey sent you.
And then, you know, like as far as the supplementals that I have to use to do this paint job, I don't have money for primer, I don't have money for anything. So I keep tubs here in the shop with just my old scraps. And I had found enough U-Paul primer left over from the last 3 or 4 cars I've built to put together and prime that little car. And then the white that I based it all in is the paint left over from Peanut, the little 56 single cab that I had to sell to keep Paper to Pavement alive during COVID, and the banana hammock. Like, that's all the white I had left over from those two mixed together that I based this with. So I had $0 in getting this thing all white.
sometimes with the audio of the video you can tell.
But now it's called Big Deal. I want it green, you know, I need it metal flake, like this big picture in my head. And I call around all my buddies, and Mike Lowhorn, my savior, my homeboy Mike, he said, well, I've got some green left over from my Chevelle, you know, some base, so you can have it if you want it. And he said, I'm sorry, you know, I don't have a lot of it, but I probably have a quart. And I said, a quart? I can paint that thing 5 times with a quart, you know? So he gave me that paint. Then Trent called around to some people he knew, and Spawk and Dino from Flake said, hey, if you want to try to do your first flake job, I'd never done this before, I'd never flaked anything. And they were like, if this guy's crazy enough to try it on a Hot Wheels car under this kind of time frame and this kind of wild circumstances, we'll send him the material to do it. And they did, dude. They sent me their new color, snot green flake, perfect like recipe of the products I needed to spray that over what I had scabbed together to paint for free. Okay, so just like any paint job, the most important thing is understanding the process, you know, the layers in which they need to go on and the cure times and everything. Well, I know nothing about what I do. I just kind of like just hope, and most of the time I get lucky. This time I did not want to chance that, you know, and I've had friends reach out and say, hey man, if you have any trouble along the way, hit me up. My buddy Jordan Grant in California, he told me, hey man, seriously, reach out, any questions you got. And I think I made him regret that, because I hit him up for like 5 days, you know, like before just prepping and getting everything ready. And then I don't know if he took off work or what, but the day I was spraying, he was on call, man. He helped me every single step of the way. Even when I texted him and said, hey brother, when should I peel this tape off? And he's like, now, man, now, you know. A lot of the things that I do, I need help with, even if I'm physically the only person doing it, you know, just the moral support from all my buddies from all over the world go a long way to make all these things really happen for me.
It's Big Brother don't even know yet, dude. The pickle jar still thinks it's pretty, you know?
Yeah.
Had to get the right mixing cup, man. We need good juju on our side. And we're pickle people. I've never done any of this. So, I have no knowledge. I have no money to redo it. But I also have no excuses. Let's rock and roll. Spraying flakes like spraying a rattle can, man. I've been in Rust-Oleum training camp. Like nothing, dude. Like I done it a million times before. Buddy, do you realize how big a piece of shit that thing was? I gave $1,500 for that thing, and everybody had a chance to get it. It's sitting there that long. A $1,500 Isetta. That's what you're seeing in there, brother. Yeah. Oh my God. Freak Flake. Freak Flake, dude. Perfect name. Freak Flake. Thank you so much. You just made a full-grown man's childhood dreams come true. Thank you.
I mean, this is one of those trances I'm talking about. You know, I think if I listened to my inner me during this time, I would probably curl up in the corner and cry. You know, I don't have the extreme confidence it may look like I do. You know, I have doubts too, but I told myself at the start of this that I was going to do my best and accept my best and show my best and stand beside it proudly. I did believe that with the friends that were nice enough to help me, I was gonna be smart enough to figure it out along the way, and I do trust my instincts. You know, I've put myself in bad situations artistically my entire life, you know, and it's been mistake after mistake after mistake that's gradually turned into I don't make as many mistakes anymore. When it gets hot in the kitchen, I'm the best chef, you know. I like pressure. I wouldn't be in this situation if I didn't, I guess. For waiting as long as I did for everything, it was so I could do my best job. I wanted to make sure that I could get the products that I needed to do it right. And with Freak Flake sending what they did, it kind of gave me the confidence to know that I am an artist here. My ideas are good enough, and people that are established artists trust in me. And not just that, they want to invest in my future too and see what I'm made of, just like I do. So instead of worrying about what I am, why don't I worry about what I could possibly be after all of this and learn something new? And that's exactly what I did. And after I took cheap spray guns, I went to Harbor Freight and bought spray guns. You know, I don't think I spent $100 total on the machinery that I did to pull off what to me is a perfect paint job. I didn't expect it to turn out so good. And when I got it done and almost came back to earth and walked outside, it was just like an explosion of, I don't know, I look up to a lot of people that can do what I just did, you know, and I've always been like, man, one of these days, if I could do a custom paint job, like I could build me a whole car. And I didn't just do that. Like I built my dream car, and I just painted it.
Like you said, I understand it's not in the sun, but this is my first time really seeing it.
Oh, dude, well, now you can see.
What did you do yesterday?
So I sanded everything back down with 800 grit, everything. And I had those runs. My plan originally was I was just going to sand them runs out, hand polish it, and then worry about it later. And I thought, man, Freak Flake is in Arizona. I want it to be as smooth as possible. I need to put, instead of wasting the extra day painting the pickle jar and the trailer separate, I cashed in one of those days to re-clear because I wanted Freak Flake to have like the best showing I could for them for helping us out so big, you know. So I sanded it down with 800 grit yesterday, everything, even the white, and then I buried it all in 2 coats of clear again. And the only thing that happened is I got 2 little bugs in it right here, but I'm just gonna call them dark metal flake and give them the ride of their life.
I love it.
So I get this thing painted, and then Hot Wheels finally accepts me into the show. So if you don't know this by now, I've done all of this on my own, dreaming and chasing and running. And I turned in months before this, my application, and never heard anything back. So instead of getting discouraged, I just knew that no matter what, I was going to be in Phoenix, Arizona, and if I had to storm the gate, I would, you know. So now I have drawn, I have dreamed, I have welded, I have body worked, I have now painted, and guess what? Tag in the upholstery to the stars, baby. It's my turn to sew my dream car. And I'm going to sew it in diamonds too. I've never taken the time to give myself what I want. And this time, I have hustled hard enough to give myself days to do an upholstery job, and these are days I don't plan on sleeping through.
I know sometimes life can be tough, and you feel like you just had enough. When you're thinking everything is gone wrong, just remember that I'm here to cheer you on. Yeah, I wanna pick you up from the ground, let you know that I'm always around. 'Cause I know we can make it, yes we can make it if we try. Keep on trying. You got it. I believe in you. You got it. I know you got this. You got it. Just keep on trying. You got it. There's been a lot of bumps in the road. Oh yeah. Always carrying that old soul.
It's not just diamonds. Like, I have a full organic shape that goes all the way through it. It's really, really pretty when it's all together. I remember what it looks like now. The roof too, once it's together, it's not gonna make sense to you, but the words will, and you can just put the pictures with it later. It's not straight diamonds. I put accentuated, like, speed sew pattern in it that also is like a flip-flop of the front door. So I hope you noticed it.
Keep on trying. Got it. You're gonna make it. Got it. I believe in you. Got it. Trying. Keep on trying, girl. Got it. You're gonna make it. Got it. 'Cause I believe in you.
shape I was talking about. The speed shape, but also it matches that door. I still gotta put the bows in, but yeah. Honestly, this was too tight. I shouldn't have done it that tight. That is my absolute human limit. I stabbed the needle through my finger, took a chunk of my finger off trying to get that tight of a thing. So, hey, blood, sweat, and tears, brother. That was the momentum I needed going into this upholstery job because, you know, I always complain with the people I've had to do business with. I've owned the upholstery shop for 10 years. You know, it went out of business during COVID. And I always have the same problem. It's like the budget's gone by the time it gets to me, and then they've used up all the time. And here, superhero Mikey has to come out and not get any sleep and not do all this stuff, you know? And just so happens the owner of this car treats me the exact same way, bro. Like, does me just the same. And I realize I've got like 3 days to pattern, sew, fully upholster, and assemble. Like, it's gotta be not just a test fit. The very first sewing I do on it is the finished product. I gotta knock this thing out. And I'm in the same kind of thing you were talking about with the paint job. Are you scared? Yeah, I'm scared. I wake up scared, bro. So I just hit it. And luckily though, I am a master upholsterer. That is what I am. I have over 30,000 hours logged by myself in this shop. And I say, and that's been the beautiful thing about this. I have been in here sewing for 10 years. It's my turn to reap, you know, and that's what this whole process feels like it's been. And now Hot Wheels gets a hold of me during my upholstery job. The upholstery job knocked out, nailed it, man. Like, it's the best diamond job I ever did. You know, it was inspiration I got from like Don Tyree Francis's car. You know, I did a diamond Zodiac interior in that thing 4 or 5 years ago, and it's haunted my dreams ever since. Some of these jobs, I have not wanted to leave my shop. You know, I feel like I cut a piece of myself off and put it in these people's cars, and they're out there living my dream. That's kind of how I've always felt. And to be sitting here knowing all I gotta do is just assemble this thing, and then we're ready to load up, and I get to go live my dream. I get to go see how my stuff stacks up against the rest of the world and what them Hot Wheels Dream Team people actually feel about me and my style. Reality did sink in when Hot Wheels said yes, because until this point, this all felt like I was kind of working towards nothing for a little bit. I mean, I thought I might be wasting our time again. But when they did this, it was like, oh, I have to figure out a way to get to Arizona, you know? And then, luckily, Kevin down the road, down at my old upholstery shop out on the highway, he said, well, I'll put together a Hot Wheels show, we'll raise some money. Dude, from when I had to do that upholstery job, I had to leave in a week to go to Arizona. We got 3 days to get there, and this car is in 100 pieces, man. Like, I have to get it all pieced together and show the people of Deputy that are willing to give me money to get to Arizona. You know, they deserve to see it before anybody. So it was a mad thrash from the second I started doing that upholstery job. I didn't sleep for 2 or 3 days and then showed up to show the people of Deputy what they had invested in, not just in the cars, but I wanted them to see the kind of human being they invested in too. You know, I wanted them to see that if you give me a little bit, I will take my body to the edge of its limits to pull off what I tell you I'm going to do. You know, and if I went down on this one, it was going to be because I swung so hard I fell right on my face. When I started trying to figure out like what shape is the interior even going to land it being, you know, I knew I wanted diamonds, but there's a flow to the inside of that car, especially with the big deck that I have on the inside, and I don't want to just bang diamonds in it. I want it to have a flow and more of a Hot Wheels-esque shape to it. And I treated this entire job like it was for Hot Wheels, like they were my customer, really. I think if I would have designed that for myself, I would have probably overthought it and not done a very good job. But I did really go to blisters and go look at cars and find the flow lines within the brand that is Hot Wheels. Everything I found in the designs within Hot Wheels for what was similar to mine enough to where I could take inspiration from was a lot of like speed lines, you know? So in that one, I knew that I wanted it to look like it was going fast, setting still. So I came up with that like scallop design just to emulate motion while it was setting still. You know, I'm trying to show off my artistry everywhere. The design within upholstery is something that I really pride myself on. And I feel like I found a way to follow the shape of that car and keep a continuous flow without having to stop at 5 or 6 locations within inside that little bitty body. So once I put that design together, I almost put myself in that same trance of like, my hands are screaming, you know, my body is hurting, my mind is absolutely exhausted, and I almost need to take a break while I'm sewing. And in between sewing, I have to record the audio for the docu-series that's the Pickle Jar during all this time too. We have to get that up before we get to Hot Wheels as well. So this whole crazy emotional roller coaster that I'm on is almost as crazy as the physical pain that I'm in. I think my emotions running as wild as they were and my body feeling as physically strained as it was almost was keeping me from noticing either one of them and paying close attention to it, you know? I just was like, okay, I'm just going to have to lock in and do. And I felt like there was 3 or 4 times during that upholstery job, I forgot what I was doing. I'm like, I have to trust the fact I knew what I was doing when I made this pattern and just follow my tick marks and do this just like a job I'm doing for a factory or something, you know? Because I'm not remembering the decisions I'm making from day to day because of the lack of sleep. The sleep deprivation I'm putting myself through, you know, I mean, I'm closing in on 500 hours near the end of this job in these 40 days. And that's all by myself. So I was having a lot of trouble kind of clicking in and remembering, which is why I saved the upholstery for very last. I knew I did not need my brain to do that upholstery job. I've trained my hands enough, and I felt like I had my blade sharp and ready for a gunfight in the upholstery department. So I saved that for very last. So I get that interior job done, and I'm like, I'm already late. You know, the people in Deputy, they're putting together that show at 3 o'clock. It's already past that, but I want to show up with it nice. I want to make sure that when they see it, it's how it's going to look at Hot Wheels. So I showed up fashionably late, but when I got there, the crowd was there with love, man. You know, like we had made their day. These people had all gathered, not only to put on this little race and raise money for us, but to send us off with good luck, you know, because in less than a week, we're going to be parked in Arizona. And we're going to be parked there with what I've worked my entire life to show. And these people have watched me grow from a little kid that couldn't afford the bike parts to show with the rich kids. And now I'm going. And I still can't afford to show with the rich guys, but I'm showing the best I can. And I know that what I'm taking isn't perfect, but it's a whole lot closer to perfect than me. And I was proud to see those people from where I'm from understand me for the first time in my life, because I have been looked down at by people I've done nothing but look up to. And I felt like for the first time I've had the opportunity to show them exactly who I was, and they were all there accepting it. It was a good day. I'm clocking out on it. The big DILL is officially ready for Hot Wheels. What time is it? 7 p.m. 7 p.m. We got 11 hours in today. The last day in Deputy was an 11-hour day. It's a slacker day. So, at the end of the project, I'd worked 37 days and I had 478 hours logged on that little car. And I had 3 days to get to Arizona. So we're looking at paths on the best way to get there with the least stress. And I knew that I had to make a point to stop and see Jerry Bellot and show him what he had helped us get, you know, and I was a man of my word. I told him that I was going to build something he had never seen before. And I built him a couple things he'd never seen before.
You know, it's funny you say that because that was his phrase. Every time we went into another room of his house, he would say, "Let me show you something you never seen before. Let me show you something you never seen before." Like it was like a toy that had the string, right? And what did it feel? Okay, let's talk about this though. You got to remember this now. On the way to Texas, we felt like the universe was still giving us obstacles, right? With the trailer tires, remember?
Yes, lost trailer tires along the way. Had to stop at a tractor supply store and pay gold price for 2 spares. Yeah. But it got us on the road, and we made it to the McPhillips house just in time to get a couple hours of sleep and get to Jerry's the next day. And the greeting we got from Jerry was like one of the most special things I ever got in my life. You know, I got to go on this trip with my wife and kids this time too. You know, I knew it was going to add a lot more stress to the adventure, but I want them there. I want my kids to see that I'm trying to pull something off big. And then when I get around a guy like Jerry that is a hero to me, you know, this guy, I'm trying to be what he's already done. You know, I am. I mean, I'm trying to do it my own way, but I like the path he did. I like that he stuck his own style, and he was Jerry till today. I like that. And for him to look at my wife and tell her what he told her was like once in a lifetime opportunity. And we're gonna do our best, man. I'll
Don't get rid of him, you'll never replace him.
I know, he's
the rest of them will be average.
Thank you. Appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
You don't want to be average. When you average, you ain't
That's your boy right there.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for seeing it in me, man.
Well,
Not many had.
And what goes through your mind when you're pulling up to Jerry's and we're going to jump out and start filming his reaction?
Well, I mean, we're on this Hot Wheels Legends chase, and the only legend I really, you know, care what they think about this whole thing is Jerry, because that's a legend that's invested in me, you know. I've invested into Hot Wheels, so to me, if I'm not good enough for you, then, you know, if that ain't enough, then I ain't enough, and I'm okay with that. You know, I am completely okay with that. To me, they're a Hot Wheels car when they get in front of that big backer board, but getting the seal of approval from Jerry, I didn't need to hear anything from anyone else.
Did it add some wind to your sails, all the thumbs up and the people reaching out on the road as we travel there?
I have such a good imagination that my dreams sometimes get mixed up with my days. You know, I really do feel like that. There's even upholstery jobs that I do that I feel like I've dreamed how to do them, and then I'm aggravated that I have to redo the work I've already done. You know, I have that kind of imagination. So while I'm driving and people are, "Hey Mikey, I love the build, I love what you're doing." I'm talking from Indiana to Texas, this was happening. And people hollering at me out windows and everything. I felt like I was dreaming.
What do you think about him?
Yes! That one's rad, that one's rad, that one's rad.
And I mean, I'm not saying, oh, it felt like a dream. No. It felt like I was going to wake up on day one of the pickle jar build in Texas and have just been in dream mode this whole time. You know, because I'd told myself that by the time I got to Arizona, I was probably going to be a shell of myself if I wasn't on a stretcher. You know, I really thought that. I thought it is going to take every single thing in my body to pull this off without any money. And that was not the case. What I actually found was the best version of myself. And at Hot Wheels, when they ask for authenticity, that means it authentically looks like a Hot Wheels car. But what I authentically gave Hot Wheels was me. Guys, I don't have anything. I'm a scrapyard kid, I always have been. I've had to dig at the bottom of everybody's trash to build my day-to-day. And this time I got to do it, not just survive, I thrived out here on it, you know? And when we pulled into the parking lot, we show up at like 10 o'clock at night the day before, you know, which I still have to get unloaded. And I have cars to finish bolting together and get ready that have never been finished for a car show that was a sidewalk away from what I felt like was my destiny, man. Like, I'd seen the big backer board, I seen the parking lot, and then I started like really picturing my cars in there, and like I built them what I believe is going to be a contender here. You know, I didn't just show up with one little car, I didn't just show up with one little idea. I showed up with one set that is 15 times more lucrative in the store than the $1 car. The set that I'm building costs $15, man. So like in my head, I was like, I'm going premium. That is who I am as a human being. Like I want, too much is never enough for Mikey, you know? And that's what I wanted to show up with. And I didn't just show up with the Isettas either. I made a pretty good splash with the pickle slicer. People were recognizing the bicycle I built too, which brings me back to Arizona, where for the very first time I got interested in a piece of machinery that was a lowrider bicycle when I was a little kid. That's what sparked all of this. And here I'm standing in the exact same city with another custom bike that I built, and I'm rolling around waving at people and presenting my dream truck, my dream car, built off of my dream make and model that I literally dreamed up. It's mine, you know? And it's not a clone, it's not fiberglass. This went from paper to pavement with a one-man build crew, and I was proud to show it. When a car gets at a show, it needs a presenter. It doesn't have a voice, you know? And for me to show the garage spirit that these cars have, it's a lonely garage spirit, man. I am the spirit in my garage. So I wanted to make sure that I was in the mindset, and I still had the loneliness that I needed to carry me on to talking about these projects that I'd done by myself, man. You know, like, I'm a modern day Noah, I guess. You know, if you've got a flood coming and need an ark, I can build Isettas into it, I guess. You know, and that's kind of what I felt like at the end of all this. Like, I get pulled in, I get in a premium spot. Like, they put me in an awesome spot, which I just wasn't expecting anything. I didn't know what was gonna come. So everything was outdoing my expectations the whole day. And then, I mean, even it happening there in Arizona was awesome because Dino and Spawk from Flake are sponsors for it. Their home base is Phoenix, Arizona. So they come to the show, they record with us, and we actually build a relationship in person, and we all had a win that day. You know, like when they called me on stage, Spawk said, brother, I felt like I won. I never win anything, but me neither. And now I feel awesome that me and a group of like misfit artists have found a way to really shine on a giant stage like Hot Wheels. You know, little guys like me don't get opportunities, you know, and that's what everyone wants to believe. But there is no such thing as opportunities. You know, all there is undeniability. You know, you've just got to keep going and keep going. The internet is free, open source that you can get seen from if you're loud enough. And this time, I built cars loud enough to be seen, and Hot Wheels noticed, man. People think I'm full of it. My finish line was in front of the backer board that morning. Like, I was at a car show with my kids, a Hot Wheels show. So, I mean, we're running around and playing with the toys that are there, and I'm talking to friends on the internet that drove all this way to meet me for the first time. So, I wasn't really thinking about the show too much. I didn't think I had a chance to win. I honestly didn't. I didn't think there's any way that they would let somebody like me win this thing. But, you know, when I actually talked to him that day, I started feeling different. You know, the judges looked at me as crazy as the locals around here do. You know, they were like, did you really? Not only did I do it, I have it all on video. I can prove this. You know, no one ever believes me when I say I do this crazy stuff. Well, guess what? It's all filmed. So you can't say I didn't do it, you know? And at the end of the day, when they say my name, it's like, I'm getting ready to go have a conversation with the people that I've set out to this whole time. Like, this is how the universe served me up a dish I ordered. I wanted my opportunity to be seen as a true artist amongst other artists. I want to be seen as a peer in the art community.
All right, without further ado, make some noise again. Hot Wheels Legends 2023, Gilbert, Arizona. Brian Bennett, without further ado, who is your winner here at Walmart Mobile One? Go.
Mike Brown with his Isetta
buddy.
Come on, guys. Hey, come on, let's go. Let's go.
This guy.
He's so down. Bye-bye.
To be seen as a peer in the art community. And I got to do that in front of the Hot Wheels Dream Team. And they know not just know my name, they say it over a microphone and introduce me to Phoenix, Arizona in front of my wife and kids. And Ruthie wasn't crazy, you know, for investing what she has in me. And my kids are looking up to me now for something that I told him I was going to do. And it's something that it wasn't easy. Not a speck of it was easy, but I knew before I ever started this would be the hardest thing I ever did in my life. I knew it would be, and I knew I didn't know how to do it. But I just wanted to see amongst the creativity, authenticity, and garage spirit, I wanted to take that to the limit within me as a person. And Hot Wheels appreciated that. And they didn't just appreciate it, they seen it as like something good enough to be a product. You know, like I'm not just a kooky artist. I am something that they see sellable too, which legitimizes me more than I've ever been legitimized in my life. You know, so the whole thing after the morning and then what I feel like I'm still dreaming from, dude, it sunk in and it really landed me exactly where I asked January 1st. You know, I wanted to be seen as a true artist and I wanted to do it my way, no excuses. I did that and I didn't need a single excuse to get exactly where I said I was going to, man. And I almost felt like in a weird way that I hit some kind of weird level, like in a game or something. Like I leveled up and I almost felt a click within myself that I think might have just been confidence, man. You know, until this point, I've always said I could do this stuff to like eye rolls and yeah, buddy, okay, man, you know, cool story. To where now, like, I got you, Trent, that believed in me, Ruthie believed in me, and then Hot Wheels just legitimized that idea too. So I feel like I just showed that I could provide a future for us off of my artwork, and that I wasn't just some crazy guy running in the dark. I am a visionary, you know, and I've always hoped that I was, you know, because my grandfather was a visionary. He could sit and dream things up and produce them in real life. And like, that's what I want to do. I want to not just be a talker, I want to be a talker and a doer. You know, I want, when these dreams that I talk about in the rooms that I'm sitting in, I want the people that understand while they're in my presence that I'm not just throwing to see what sticks, I'm stabbing. You know, it's going to stick. You know, and that's kind of what this whole thing got to show, is I got to show that I am an artist, I'm a professional, and that if I dream something up crazy, I can actually execute it. So after the win in Arizona, we actually had a wonderful visit with family there too. My aunt let us stay with her for a couple days. And then Spawk and Dino from Flake invited us over to do a podcast too. So we actually got to calm down and enjoy a win in the area too before we headed home. It's my stopping spot for the night. You know what I did today? I sewed upholstery for my uncle's car, brother.
That way from you either. Shop Dog Award. Jolie, how you feel? You're a Hot Wheels Legends Shop Dog. How about that? Oh, you gave like a thumbs. You gave a little head shake.
Hey, now, brother, it looks like a thrash went on in here. And let me tell you, that thrash, as crazy as it may have been, I think it paid off for us, brother.
It did, it did.
When I left, we were struggling as bad as we could have been, wouldn't we? No lie.
Nope.
Guys, we're about to lose everything. I was on the verge of bankruptcy. Dude was about to lose it all, man. And not only did I go, I'm in the finals now, baby. And what this shop is gonna do is not just produce some little projects, man. It's about to produce a couple show cars. And whoever we're going against, boys, you better be working.
Oh no! Jimbo's got my arm! He's got side control! Oh no! Jimbo's got side control! He's got the arm! If I might see it, it's over! It's over! And Stu, Deputy Champion of the World, Jim!
So, you know, like just like the Banana Hammock movie and, you know, all the others, I like to shoot the car, you know, and get like good historical documents of it before I go tearing this thing up. And to bring it home after a win and getting it prepped for what will be the semifinals, taking it up to Grandma's, doing the photo shoot, right where we used to do it in front of Papaw, right in his front yard, just really seals the deal on this thing being finished enough for Hot Wheels. You know, I know that it's got a long future of performance upgrades and everything else. And I mean, since Arizona, I've been building attachments and everything for the set on Mikey's Acre of Earth too, for the channel. So I feel like now we're setting in a good spot. We made the finals for Hot Wheels, and we're going in now with a set that we can upgrade for the rest of our life on our show. You know, so this is the first part of the birth of Big Dill. But trust me when I tell you, it's here to put on a show for a long time, so stay tuned.
Mama said you gotta work to earn your keep, and ever since my hands been all tore up, Lord, how they bleed, and my pocket's almost empty, and my heart has been dry. Dry for a while. So here's to prosperity and wealth. And if I die, Lord, here's hope. A poor boy don't go to hell. And if I do, please don't cry for me. 'Cause I'll take the keys from the devil himself to see that I'm free. And thank you, Lord, for making my life a living hell. 'Cause you can't make a man if you give him a fairy tale. No. It's easy to throw stones, and it's hard to catch them. Even harder not to throw. And I swear my head is swelling like my skull might explode. Worry, wonder, waiting, man, is such a heavy load. If I wasn't so hard-headed, I'd probably just crawl off and die. Here's to prosperity and wealth. And if I die, Lord, here's hope. Oh boy, don't go to hell. And if I do, please don't cry for me. 'Cause I'll take the keys from the devil himself to see that I'm free. And thank you, Lord, for making my life a living hell. 'Cause you can't make a man if you give him a fairy tale. wasting time or spending all the money I made. All the money I made. So here's to prosperity and wealth. And if I die, Lord, here's hope. My poor boy don't go to hell. And if I do, please don't cry for me. 'Cause I'll take these words self-deceived and free. Thank you, Lord, for making my life a living hell. 'Cause you can't
Shoot's done. First photo shoot.
Now I guess we can say put a fork in it, it's done, right? So I dreamed this plan up and fully committed to it January 1st of this year. And we're like 10 months in and we're done. Photo shoot is done and we are in the finals of the Hot Wheels Legends Tour this year. Who would have thought 2 guys with 10 grand in the scrap pile could make a dent in this world, but hey. These Isettas and me are ready to make our splash. Thanks for following us along up to this point, and I really, really hope you guys understand that I'm a man with not much, but 0 excuses. Get out there and build something. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this. Like always, one crazy guy with one crazy project. I just wanted to take time to thank Freak Flake, Mike Lowhorn for the green as well, and I wanted to thank Prism Supply for the shifter they sent me to build the shifter off of, and then I polished this whole setup up with AC Speed Shop's DILL Dazzle Detailer. And not only does it shine them up good, makes a good perfume too. So, hey, y'all stay nice out there. I know it's a dark world, but let's try to light it up.